A message from former Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld.
The National Wrestling Hall of Fame is to be commended for recognizing the link between the sport of wrestling and the U.S. Armed Forces. Many of America's most accomplished wrestlers have also served in the U.S. military. I'm delighted that the National Wrestling Hall of Fame is honoring those distinguished individuals who have contributed both to this increasingly important sport of wrestling and also to their country as members of the U.S. Armed Forces. In its new display in Stillwater, Oklahoma, the National Wrestling Hall of Fame will tell these stories and the stories of many more who have shown both perseverance on the wrestling mat and courage in their service to our nation.
My name is Ed Core, former U.S. Ambassador to 3 countries, former Assistant Secretary of State, and along with my twin brother Bert, a former 3-time All-Marine wrestling team member. Secretary Rumsfeld has graciously lent his support to this ambitious project, and the National Wrestling Hall of Fame is most appreciative. His military tie is well known, but he knows of the bond and relationship that exists between wrestling and the military because Secretary Rumsfeld himself was a wrestler. He was captain of his Illinois State Championship high school team. He was a 3-year letterman and senior captain at Princeton. And he was an all-Navy wrestling champion in 1954. Secretary Rumsfeld knows at the core level these decorated military men carried with them lessons learned from the sport of wrestling, those being dedication, perseverance, accomplish your mission first attitudes. Wrestling and the military have a special relationship that goes back thousands of years, back to the time of hand-to-hand combat. Moves developed in early warfare are still seen on the mat today. Those who have lived this relationship, who have served their country and also competed at a high level of wrestling, are going to be recognized for their contributions at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Like those mentioned by Secretary Rumsfeld, Hall of Fame researchers have found some fascinating stories that are being developed for the permanent display at the museum at Stillwater, Oklahoma.
R. Wayne Bachman is the consummate athlete and military man. He began his wrestling career in suburban Oklahoma City in the 1950s, placing 3rd in the state tournament his senior year. Wrestling at the University of Oklahoma, Bachman became a 2-time Big 8 champion and was named the tournament's outstanding wrestler in 1963. At the NCAA Wrestling Championships, he made the finals 3 consecutive years and was an NCAA champion his junior year. Upon graduation, Bachman became an officer in the United States Air Force, where he served for 21 years. He continued wrestling in the Air Force, winning the Inter-Service Championship an incredible 16 times. But even more impressive, he was a member of the United States Olympic wrestling team 3 times, competing in the Olympic Games at Tokyo in 1964, at Mexico City in 1968, and at Munich in 1972. He also was on the United States World Championship team 8 times and a 2-time Olympic coach. Bachman holds a unique distinction of having won a national championship in the 4 recognized wrestling styles, and they are collegiate, freestyle, Greco-Roman, and Sambo. But Bachman isn't a guy in wrestling just for individual honor. He gave back as a team player to the United States Air Force as few could. For 27 years, he was the head coach of wrestling at the Air Force Academy at Colorado Springs. He was named the Western Athletic Conference Coach of the Year 3 times, and then in 1991, he delivered the first outright Western Athletic Conference Championship for the Air Force Academy in any sport.
I'm Leroy Smith, Executive Director of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum. What you have just seen is the beginning of what we're creating at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame to pay tribute to our military heroes who share our special bond of wrestling. You can help us in the development of this project by sharing our vision with others and by telling us of the worthy wrestlers who have given of themselves in service to our country. We have established a link on our website at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame that will direct you and others to our military information form. By filling it out and getting it to us, we can begin the research to honor those who serve both our country and our sport. I encourage you to visit our site and help us begin this ambitious and most important project. Thank you for your time and thank you for your assistance.